Okay. Okay. I'm glad Kathy won't hear that other part that I just said. Um, okay. Congratulations to all our artists who were selected by our esteemed judge, Michael Holter, for this year's Associate Member Online Show. And many, many thanks to all of you artists who supported the show with your entries. Uh, Not everybody can get in every time. We've all been there. We all know how it feels. And all you got to do is keep trying. Because, like I said in one of the emails, some of the entries that got in this year were entered last year and didn't get in. So you just got to keep trying. Um, got a lot of opportunities coming up. Tanya's gonna go over that with you. Okay, short explanation on how these slides are going to run today. I'll be running the slides for Michael. He's going to make a comment about each painting. If you know that you're in the show, but you get skipped, wait till the end because that's where you're going to be. Our award winners are at the end. So right now I'll turn it over to Tanya.
All right, I'm going to share my screen. Hope you guys can see that. So I'm Tanya Davis. I'm your newsletter editor and communications director, and I'm new in that role this year. Before I run through our upcoming events, I just want to give a hat tip to Gwen Kodad. Gwen, if you're dialing in or if you're watching this on replay, you did such a fabulous job setting up 2026 for us. So our FWS convention and trade show is at the Bradenton Area Convention Center, and the exhibition is at Herrig Center for the Arts. The convention center is newly refurbished and it is all on one floor. Yay. It has parking. It's also on the parish side of the river. So the exhibition is on the Bradenton side of the river, and the hotels will be released on April 1st. Or thereabouts. And the options are going to be on the Bradenton side, close to all the dining opportunities. If you want to book your own place on the Paris side of the river, you're welcome to do that. Here's the Bradenton Convention Center. To be eligible to enter the 55th annual exhibition, you need to pay your dues by March 31st. So just a quick reminder. And we have two new board members, Suzanne Natsky and Laura Rustin. They are co-chairing as education directors, and we're going to be looking for demonstration artists a little bit different this year. We're sending out a survey on this coming Wednesday, March 18th, and it's a two-part survey. So first, do you want to be a demo artist or paint around artist? And do you want to recommend someone else? And second, what are your interests? What are you most interested in? So please answer that survey, especially the last two questions, even if you're not interested in being a demo artist. They're looking for people with teaching experience or people who would like to have teaching experience. Let's see, we are not having a gala this year. The awards will be handed out at the Herrig Center for the Arts, which is formerly Art Center Manatee. You should know where that is if you've been in this area at all. Let's see, we have 5 workshops this year. The first is Angus McEwen, and there is no limit to seats because it is an online workshop. The workshop registrations are open to members only through the end of March. April 1st, they open to non-members. So there's no seating limit on Angus's. However, Sue Morin's 4-day workshop, Michael's 4-day workshop, Karen Knutsen's 2-day workshop, and Robin's 1-day workshop all have seating limits. We've only been open for registration for 2 weeks, and Soon's is half full. Michael's, you only have 1 seat left in Michael's workshop. You can go to any of the registration pages and check the number of seats left. There will be free Third Thursday demos by all of these artists. So the problem is if you wait until that Third Thursday demo, you might not get the seat you want. So just think about that and watch the seating numbers of how many's left. Here's Michael's 4-day, here's Karen, and here's Robin's. The themed member challenge online exhibition opens. Robin, did you say it's tomorrow? This date is
Tomorrow, we
incorrect.
moved it up a week because we moved this up a week.
So keep an eye on that. And the last screen here are the dates for the Third Thursday free demos. You can see that Soon's is in May. Robin's is in June, and Karen's is not until July. They're all fabulous workshops. And that is,
On a weekend too. So
I'm sorry.
Angus isn't third Thursday. He's on a weekend.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because of international and time zone and all that stuff. Here's Angus again. Okay, well, I can throw the microphone back to Robin.
Stop sharing. There we go.
Cool. Got it. See?
All right. Let me see. There's a little Q&A button at the bottom. If you guys have questions for Michael, we'll do those at the end. Anything except why didn't mine get in to put in the Q&A, and we'll do those at the end. Okay, I'm going to introduce Michael, and then I'm going to put the slides up. Okay, Michael Holter is an award-winning artist who works in watercolor and oil, whose paintings can be found in private and corporate collections around the United States and several foreign countries. Michael is a signature member of AWS, NWS, TWSA, and a whole bunch of others. He's a sought-after instructor, obviously, because there's only one spot left in his workshop. Register now or take your chances with the wait list. Okay, I am going to share my screen with the slides, and we're going to get, there's Michael. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, Robin. Thank you for inviting me, and thank you to the Florida Watercolor Society. What a treasure it is to be a part of it.
It is. Okay, let me see. I can do this directly. Ta-da. Okay.
There we go.
Okay, we're presented in alphabetical order. The 6 award winners are at the end. Don't stand on my lawn with a pitchfork if your name gets skipped.
Or mine.
All right, Michael.
Wow. Thanks again for inviting me, and for the opportunity to look at all this great work, and to come to Florida and be a part of the events that are going on later. I love that area of Florida. I've been there many times. I have some family there, so it's always a treat to go back there. I do live in Texas, so I'm a bit of ways away from there. To the paintings, this one was a lot of fun. I like the I think there were, if I remember correctly, there were 2 like this. This one had I thought the composition was a little stronger. I love the diagonals. The colors are just tremendous, really beautiful colors. Of course, you get that great pop of color when you have such contrast from the darks to the lights. It's really a fun painting. Okay. Another really interesting painting. I love the angles of the branches. The composition of it just really works for me. Lots of diagonals. This, of course, the little bird is pointed appropriately placed about on the thirds. It's a really nice positioning. The wonderful color combination from the greens at the bottom to the lights at the top, and all the wonderful textures of these branches. Not overly complicated and textured, but just enough to show what's there. It's a well executed.
Okay, I'm going to apologize for our faces in the, it'll all be in the horizontal pieces. The presentation will be online, so you'll be able to see the slides a little bit better.
This one is a interesting one. A lot of industrial kind of paintings. I enjoy that kind of work. I enjoy those kind of subjects. This is a fun painting. Again, there's some nice rule of thirds going on here. The chimney, or whatever it is, tall tower, probably about on the thirds, and then the the horizon of the waterfront, it looks like on the thirds. It's a interesting textural painting. Nicely done. This is fun. I do portraits, and I enjoy doing them, and I enjoy seeing how other people treat people. And I think the feeling of this is really fun. It really captures a lot. This young man has his eyes are kind of looking right through you. He's got some wonderful subtle colorations throughout the painting. Nicely done. It's a great example of how to just capture someone without an overabundance of textures and modeling and manipulation. It's very, very crisp. It's nicely done. Street scenes and architecture. I love architectural things personally. I do a lot of that. I love the treatment on this building. I love the just the kind of there's sort of a whimsical feel to it. It's sort of slanting. The scooters at the bottom are sort of in that same kind of a little bit off kilter feel, which is fine. It isn't like perfect perspective, but I like that. I like the general feeling of it, and it's just a nicely done, wonderfully executed little painting. Thank you. Here's another one of those sort of photorealist ones. There aren't too many, I don't think, in this show, if I remember correctly. This is a fun, of course. Anybody who's played a little bit of pool or billiards will kind of relate to it, and it's just the wonderful reflection off of these hard, shiny objects gives it a real sense of depth and reality. It's a fun little painting. That's about all I have to say for that one. My throat's getting a little wacky. I'm sorry. I'll have a little sip of something. It's pollen season here in Texas, so
Yeah, here too.
I think I've succumbed to a little bit of that. Nice painting here. Again, a figure, and I love musical kind of things like this. This one is got a little extra splash of color around the bell of that saxophone, which I guess is emphasizing the music, the sound coming out, which is an interesting approach. I like it. I would like to have seen something more in the background or something to set him off a little bit. The white shirt again and the white paper background is a lot of light, a lot of white without. I don't know. It just seems like it would work well with something in the background of the painting. But that's just a suggestion. But it's well done. Fun people. This is love. It says there's just a real emotional painting done with some brush strokes that show a little textural treatment. And it's just got a lot of emotion in how these two are reacting to each other. It's as you see people that have been together for years. There's always these moments of special relationship that's fun to see, and this is great way to capture it. This is one of the few, if I can remember correctly, one of the few more abstract sort of paintings in here. It's and I like the fact that the painting has a representational subject matter to it, yet it's very it's sort of almost a non-objective painting because it's a lot about shape and texture. It's not so much about the figures, but the figures are there to lend a believability and a place for a person to jump in and enjoy looking at it. And the little girl with the balloon and the flowery dress over there, it's a nice touch. I like the whole feel of it. Here's another one that is a little bit on the photorealist side. Nicely done. I love the shadows. I'm a kind of a light and shadows painter. for the most part, and I really like seeing the way light plays across things. And this one's got some of that really strong shadows coming off of the plants and across these pots, giving shape and volume. The colors are nice. It's a fun painting. Here's a photorealistic one almost, I guess, and the plant is treated very nicely with the dark background. And of course, you have the introduction of the insect, which is making an interesting little painting out of it. It's not just about plant, but it's a little more than that. So that was fun to see. Love the subtle blues and shades on the flowers, on the white flowers. Those are always it's a subtle effect that makes the shapes come to life in a painting like this. The beach scene. Children at the beach. Fun. It's always fun. Nicely rendered. The depth of the painting is brought to bear because of the way that the water edge is leading your eye back, and of course you have your horizon line far in the distance, and it appropriately is above the children. The children are usually shorter than an adult looking at them, so that gives you that same perspective as if you were standing there looking at them. So perspective-wise, it's well done. The treatment is nice. It's a fun painting. And the shadows, of course, bring the idea of where the sun is coming from, and you always like to see the shadows, see where the artist is portraying this subject and showing, hey, the sun is up over there, and that's sometimes I think people forget to do that. This is a fun one too. It's it's like this this kind of summertime thing. I don't know, in Florida, I guess it happens all year round, but in some parts of the world, it's sort of a summertime event to people jumping off a bridge or a pier or whatever it is. And of course, you got a couple of kids in midair, which is kind of fun, unique in that sense. And the perspective's nice on the pier. It's fun painting. It just has a joyousness to it. This is a nicely rendered landscape, seascape, with this foreground of these must be, maybe it's crab pots or lobster pots, and this weathered wood. So there's quite a few features in here that are quite fun. You got the textures, you've got the textures of the grasses, you got the trees, and you have the sky with the nice wash, nicely handled. All of it is a good use of watercolor. Nicely done. This one is a kind of a vivid portrayal of a sunset, and I know in Florida you get some incredible sunsets and sunrises because you have all that wonderful water and the turquoise water in some parts of it. And I just think it's a good example of that. The colors are like I say, very vivid. The composition is sort of a C-shaped composition on the foreground, bringing your eye around the painting down to the water. It does have several of those kinds of features to it. Nicely done. Nice portrait. Again, like I said, I like to do portraits, and I like to see what other people do with them. I love the variety of textures in the clothing and in the background, the comparison between them. Lots of fun textural things and patterns. The composition is nice. The figure is slightly off centered. The arm, the angle of the arm leads you into the painting. There's these it's a nice pose, a nice posture that makes for a good composition. It's well done. Here's a nice traditional seascape kind of painting, or coastal painting, and it's just got some of the nice shapes, and nice compositional elements. You got this sort of eye that your eye is led through from the red, which kind of dominates. It's on the thirds, and it brings you up into the tree and the buildings in the back, and then back around the shoreline. So it's got a nice compositional flow. It works well. Here's a, who can not like that painting? That's a that's a pup that's friendly, and the colors the colors and the way it was rendered really give it a nice feel. It's got the textural feel of a hairy animal, but it doesn't overdo it with unnecessary tiny little brush strokes. It's got some looseness to it, so it's a good combination of watercolor treatment as well as a friendly subject matter that's always fun to see. Here we have another figure doing something, figure in action, working on a painting appropriate for this group, and just nicely rendered. Textural, a lot of texture in the hair and even on the face and so on. There's some texture there, which is some of it can be a little distracting in the face, but it's a nicely rendered painting. It's definitely a painterly kind of subject, painting. Another man, a figure, well rendered. The background gives him some strength because it's dark but colorful. He has this look that you see with the early morning cup of coffee, that waking up look. And I love the treatment on the shirt too. It's a nice way to render that kind of a plaid. Nicely done. This is a fun one of those paintings that are being done now a fair amount. These still lifes and full of objects, and this of course ties all together. The theme titled "Games of Life." It's kind of a cool title. All these games that I've played with my grandkids, it's you got them all. I don't do much Twister though. Can't handle that anymore. But yeah, that's a fun painting. Nicely done. Here's a nice one of it says BFF. I like the title, and I like the way it just suggests these youngsters hanging out together, friends, maybe even siblings. Who knows? But just a nice feeling painting. It's got good feelings. Not sure what the distant circles are, but it doesn't matter. It really works as a nice treatment. Here's a nice, almost photorealistic barn treatment. The sky is really nice. The barn building is really nice. The perspective is strong. It's very unusual kind of composition. You got the building off on the right lower, and a lot of sky around the left upper, and it doesn't really have a lot else in it. So the clouds and are part of this composition, but they don't really move you too much. So it's a very interesting painting in that respect. It's got some really good things going for it. I love the way you can see the sky through the rafters and the light coming through. It's a nicely done painting. Another fun title, Let Begonias Be Begonias. It's nicely done. I think I really like it. I like the colors. I love the subtlety of the colors, the subtlety of the pinks, and the yellows that I see in there, and of course the greens in the background. All of it's got a very subtle sort of feel, but there are some darks in the background that really pop it forward. So it's a very fun painting. I think a little more of the contrast into the flower part itself would have been more compelling to me, but I love the way the harmony of it. It's all very harmonious. Here's a fun painterly, I'd call it that, painterly watercolor. Lots of nice application of color, not too many big washes of color, lots of small applications of color and texture. Gives it a very fun and sparkly kind of feel, which, when you're out there and you're looking at a scene like this with lots of leaves and plants and sunlight shining and all those things, you're gonna see lots of things happening, and this captures it very well. Attractive lady with a slight turn of the head. The patterns on her blouse are just really a fun treatment, and they almost mimic the pattern on the hair. And there's this sort of compositional thing that works real well. The angle of her gaze and her head bring the viewer in nicely. Nicely done painting. A photorealistic one for sure. Nicely rendered. It's kind of lonely looking, but it's got a lot of great treatment on the jar or bowl itself, creating all that design. It's very lovely, very nicely done, very subtle in the sense the background is very subtle, so it really holds nicely as it is. Here's a fun scene of a place that I'd like to visit. A little street scene in some place. It says Lisboa, wherever that is exactly, I'm not sure. But it looks like one of those places that would be fun to see, fun to visit. It's an interesting capturing of it in a kind of a posterized sense in a way. Some flat areas and some all very harmonious colors. Bright vegetables, tomatoes, I gather. The leaves are wonderfully rendered, and the tomatoes very look like you could pluck one and eat one, and the reflection off of them is really nice. Background is treated very abstractly and loosely. It's very fun painting. A lot of really nice things happening in that painting. Another fruit and vegetable one. Cabbage. This one's got the subtle colors of the blues and the greens, which is really lovely, and the pattern of the composition sort of has this spiral, starting with the main cabbage here in the foreground right, and then swinging up and around to the top, and then brings your eye back around. So it almost has that Fibonacci curve spin to it as you look through this painting and look at all the elements and observe it from that standpoint. It's very nice. This one is certainly one of the more abstract ones in the show. It was one of those that when I looked at it, I liked the feel of it. It doesn't have some of the compositional elements that I usually look for. It's very horizontal all the way through, but there's these fun treatment of the water and the pigment, and however it was executed, it's got a lot of that flow and flavor of a fluid watercolor, which is always fun to see. This one, prickly pear, been around those a few times, and this looks like it could be dangerous. It's really well done. Like the color combination of the greens and the violets. It's a really really nicely done painting. A lot of detail, and it definitely carries with it the sense of the prickly nature of that of those cactus. The floral. This one's got some nice things. It's got beautiful subtle colors into the floral area at the top, and it's got this I guess eggplant and radishes, some of these colorful things at the bottom, bringing a little more variety in the color. Nicely rendered. The vase has got a nice form to it. It's a nice painting, well done. There there were lots of birds submitted into this show. Many of them, I know you have a lot of birds around you there, and so people paint them. I think it takes a little bit to get them to turn into a really strong painting. This one's got a beautiful foliage up at the top. Well done, well rendered. The bird is a very interesting bird, lots of texture and lots of things going on in it to make it interesting. So I think overall it carries the weight because of the just the colors, the textures, the workmanship in it it's very nice. This one was very interesting, very, very interesting to see. Very realistic. This is one of those that I zoomed in to see how it was treated, how the paint was treated to get these wonderful glossy chrome shiny pieces on this robot, I guess it is. And then the realism of the people behind it, or the lady behind it, and all the records, and it's a extremely interesting painting, and it really stands out. I'm sure everybody at the show will be looking at it close up to see how it was done, because it's one of those kind of things. How did that person get that to happen? Get that to look like that on with watercolor on paper? So it's very nice. This is a fun painting. Compositionally, it's a little unusual. There's several things happening here, but of course you have the figures, the faces of excuse me, of artists, Dali, Picasso, and I don't know what that other one is. I can't tell. But anyway, it's a very fun little scene. Maybe it's a painting from an actual place, or maybe it's something fictional. I'm not sure, but it's quite nice. It's quite fun. Music. I personally like music and play instruments. This is a very realistic approach. He looks like he's playing that guitar, and I like the use of the double image when a part of the problem with doing two-dimensional paintings of anything, things can become static because you are capturing a moment in time, but by showing multiple positions of the same person, you're showing motion and energy, and so that's a really a good feature on this one. Well done, and definitely interesting. I would just as a suggestion on this, I'm a person, I like to work in a lot of times I like to work with threes as a number of objects to have in like 3 trees or 3 objects, because it seems to be a better number in terms of the way I look at things. So I would have liked to have seen a third figure. I would like to have seen, because then it would have looked more like they were moving. Right now it looks like there's 2 people standing back to back, or one in front of the other in a way. You can kind of, somebody might misinterpret it. Anyway, just a suggestion. This is a fun and dynamic scene you probably see all over where you are in Florida, and it's nicely rendered. Good use of the foreground trees being darker and stronger, and bringing your eye forward. A lot of work went into this. It's well done. Love the overall feel of it. Compositionally, this trees, like the main one, is sort of dead center almost, and the one leaning off to the right is a little more dynamic. But I would have liked to have seen it a little bit more compositionally arranged, maybe slightly off center rather than right in the middle. But otherwise, it's really a good painting. Well done. Barn, red barn. It's nicely rendered. A lot of texture. That's the nature of those kind of subjects. You have to enjoy texturing and creating that texture. There's nice treatment of different colors to get different, the reds that are fading away on the side of the barn versus the more probably mossy stuff on the roof. Nicely done. Subtle background, very, 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 very brings your attention to the barn. It's nicely done. Here's a kind of an abstract in a way. I'd say it's a this floral thing happening is all the directional elements are pushing your eye toward that one flower in the middle, and it sort of creates this dynamic sense, almost like you're zooming out from it or something. It is a little bit centered. It's lower than the middle, but it's kind of centered in the middle. It would have been fun to have seen it at a little more of an angle. It would have given you more dynamic, but it's a fun treatment. Interesting. More birds, but this one is a nice rendering. You have two birds, and they're juxtaposed against each other nicely. The curvature of their necks and their bodies is interesting. You know how they relate to each other, and you have some texture and leaves in the background, and matching that into the foreground and the bottom. It holds together nicely. Some of the palms. You have so many palms down there. Nicely done. I think the again the repetition of the palm fronds on the bottom up to the top, and all those repeating elements are always important. That's a compositional element. Repetition is super important, and in this case, you carried it out nicely. Colors are very nice. I would say it's kind of a little top heavy in some ways to me, but I like the interesting approach to it. It gives you a chance to look at something from a new angle, so it's very nice. This is a fun figurative one. Fun figure, nicely rendered. You've got this fictional, mystical, cats throughout the hair area. It's very interesting, unusual flowers and cats. So it's got a nice feel of all the. It's just the flow and change of the colors in the hair from one side to the other, and the color of the dress with the flowers on it, and all of it is quite fun. Very, very fun painting. Nice little street scene. Very subtle, not real dramatic, but it carries a great sense of a place. It's got depth through the perspective. Perspective is well done, and just has a nice painterly watercolor feel. Very enjoyable painting. A little street scene. Figures at a sidewalk cafe, perhaps. I really like that subject. I like the way it's treated. One of the things about painting that I like to emphasize is try to um, bring things in or do things that are not necessarily in the photo. If this was a photo and the umbrella was down, I understand why you did it. I would have liked to have seen you turn it up, bring it up, make it an open umbrella with some shade coming down. This is a different angle, different dynamic when it's when a red umbrella is up and catching the sunlight. But that's just a suggestion. It's still very nice. These are fun figures at a water well in some remote place, I gather. Love the colored buckets and the colorful dresses and the gesture of the people. A lot of times, water wells in places like that are sort of social gathering places, and so this is sort of suggests all of that. It's very nice. A couple of boats moored in along a canal, perhaps typical of what you see along your coasts, and nicely done. It's a looks almost like a urban sketching plein air thing in a way. It's got the pen, looks like pen and ink lines of it on the boats, but I'm not sure if that was done that way, but it feels that way, and that's fine. It has a good feel to it. Again, a nicely done subtle color painting. This is a lot of a lot of a lot of green in this painting. Green is a tricky color to work with, and because there's so many shades of green, as those of you that paint these landscapes would know. I like the simplicity of the house or building back there, and the framing of it with these tree areas. The reflection in the water carries another element, another um, type of um, appear. It's a wet into wet, and it creates a reflection feel, but it's treated somewhat differently than the upper part, which is common with the way water would work anyway. So it's a nicely done sunlight late winter afternoon painting. Here's a figure, great rendering of the skin tones. I love I love the skin tones. I love the uh, the shirt is well done. The background elements, the linear things, those are very nice in that they set a framework for him, and the colors are, like I say, are really nice. The skin tones are exceptional. It's well done. This is a nice posterized kind of feel. I'm not sure if this was done with pouring or painting. Almost looks like one of those that was poured, but it's got really crisp architectural features. Of course, the flag is a colorful aspect hanging in the middle of it, and it really it really captures the place. Boston City Hall. I've been there, and a lot of architecture like that in Boston. It's nicely done. Here's a interesting painting called Breakers. So there's this. It's almost like an abstract painting, but you know this is this churning of the surf and the water that is flowing back and forth over these rocks, I assume, and then of course the far distant water going back. It's a fun painting. Lots of energy. Color harmony is beautiful. It's well done. This bird has a majesty to it. It's got a nice feel, perched up like that. Background treated quite simply, and in relationship, color harmony with the bird it fits in. The bird has has kind of a distinctive air to it, and the treatment of the feathers and all of that is well done, nicely done painting. Simple subject in many ways, a hanging piece of stained glass, probably from an old window from another house or something. It looks like it might be hanging in a garden, but it's fun because it is showing this transparency of the glass and the way light comes through and suggests some different color tones. It's a it's just a nice rendering of an interesting subject. Well done. Here we have a very abstract in the sense that there is no object subject in it really, other than these shapes. It's all about these shapes and the way they and the colors, shapes and color. You have color that renders itself, that works well. You got the reds and the oranges and just the positioning of things in it. It's very interesting. It's got an old 50s pattern look to it of something that might have been a dress, dress fabric. It just kind of strikes me as something like that. Maybe it's something my mother wore, Anyway, here's a nice landscape of strong trees in the foreground that bring your eye definitely forward. And then you have the wonderful depth created by the lighter and more distant aerial perspective, bringing your eye backward into the back of the painting. There's a nice use of some dappled light on the foreground, giving it some believability showing where the sun is coming from. Nicely done. A lot of nice color, nice texture. This is a fun painting, and of course it's reminiscent of John Singer Sargent painting of alligators that is quite a famous painting, and this was treated almost as well as John Singer Sargent, so it's well done. Nice use of the variety of color from the background to the foreground. Great texture. I love the overall feel of this. It's a nice painting. This is a pretty abstract painting. To me, it's very unique. I'd say. I assume it's from a photo taken above on a staircase or something somewhere, and turned into this interesting pattern and subject with these figures going up and down in it. Just a unique kind of a graphic treatment of something, so it really has a fun feel. Like with a lot of these, most of these, when I get to see them in person, I will enjoy them even more. I know, because that's the way it always works when I see them online and so on. It's always different to see them in person. I'm sure this one will be a treat. This is a great harmony subject here. Harmony being one of the principles of design, color harmony and value harmony and things. So this has just these beautiful harmonious tones. Just feels very soft. Yet you know that these have some sharpness to these little leaves, and it's a very pretty painting. The composition is interesting. You have again compositional balance. This bigger object on the bottom, slightly more cropped off one at the top, and then the way the lighter objects, the lighter green leaves bring your eye around. It's a nicely done. The title "Cool Greens" is an appropriate one. Another palm branch thing. This one is really got a nice composition to it. The colors are harmonious. The composition just brings your eye around. It's got that almost that Fibonacci curve kind of thing again going. You've got the wonderful layers from the lighter values in the back in the distance and the darker values in the foreground. Uh, Fun painting. This one was probably one of the most abstract of the paintings, although it has that representational sense to it. It looks like a place, a a place with trees and cliffs, perhaps water, and yet it's treated in very loose and very painterly, with a lot of expression. Colors are fun. Harmony of colors is good. It's an interesting painting, and it really does say something, even though it's very simple. I guess these are birds of paradise. Very interesting plant, of course, and well rendered here. Nicely done. I think the background texture would have been difficult in some ways to handle and maintain. So it's a testament to the artist here and how that was dealt with. So it's very fun, and the composition, the angles. There are three of them, which I mentioned earlier. Three is to me is better than having two. So the three of them in there is a good compositional element. Ah, she's a thinker. I like the attitude. I like the way it's this painting is done with the attitude, with the subject looking directly at you. The rendering is well, nicely done. I would skin tones and all of the things that go into painting faces is a difficult one. But this is a well done painting. And these guys, these birds are attractive birds. They have nice rendering of their bodies, their shapes, and of course you have a lot of really nice foliage. The nest is well treated. It has a nice relationship to even the spindly legs on this bird. It's a fun painting. Here's a simple landscape, waterfall, rapids, done nicely, done simply, done with a little texture in the background of the trees, and then this flowing feeling down through the rocks. The warm tones of the background and the rocks juxtaposed against the cooler tones of the water, it brings a nice contrast in color between the water and the other objects, and it's a fun painting too. Sunflowers are always a treat. These are done with these other elements, pears and squash, it says. And they're all rendered in a very interesting way, very flat in a sense, and sort of a attempt to make them sort of photorealistic, but not really. They're really treated more as painterly, more like the objects are each individually handled in such a way that they kind of work in this sort of a more abstract way. It's a fun treatment. The colors are warm and inviting. Irises, always love irises. We're just getting them to start popping here right now, and love the flowers. I love the grasses, the foliage that comes around it. This is a nicely rendered. The I guess bird bath is kind of down here. Somewhat breaks it up, and that could be good or not. Your eye kind of wants to go there, whereas the flowers seem to be the main thing that the artist worked on, and they are well done, really well done. Nice. Here's another simple one, real simple watercolor. To exploit watercolor, sometimes you have to just really let the water and the pigment do its thing. And the artist did that on this one, and threw in some simple linear brush strokes to create some of the things that you see. The little tree and the grasses are all fairly linear, and bring your eye in with something a little that breaks up that softness of that wet into wet background. Nice. This one, another little landscape, kind of the other way around. This one is not wet into wet in that same context but it's wet watercolor treated painterly with a lot of really nice color that's blending on its own. It's not been manipulated, and the artist is not worried about color bleeding into one area from another. So you have a really nice combination of things going on and make it very, very colorful and very interesting. I love this little guy. I think the treatment of it is very, very well done, and he's got a lot of character to him, and I think he could have. There's sort of something missing on it to me. The right side kind of get lost in the fence or whatever it is. It doesn't. I like the excuse me. I like the camel more than I like the rest of the painting, but he's very good, very nice. Here's a little marsh. This is very typical. I love the S curve that is created by the stream, by the marsh waters. An S curve is one of your basic primary elements of composition, and it works really well to bring your eye backward and into the painting and gives it depth. That's a very, very good use of an S curve. Love those trees in the far distance. The coolness of them. They push your eye back too, and so the warmth of the foliage in the foreground comes forward. I love it. Here is says a view from above. It is an interesting compositional painting. The composition is strong. It's the left side third has got the building and the tower pretty much on it, and you also have the diagonal coming up from the bottom, which, because we're up at a high level, it brings your eye up into that. So you have that going, and you have it somewhat of a S curve going back into the right and then up that mountain, and so you have that. You have a lot of those kind of elements again that really make this painting seem to work well. Here's a nicely done, very clean street scene. The architecture is nicely done. The light and shadow is really nice. I like the figures in the background catching the light coming up a building, and of course this bike rider in the front is also catching light, and there's some nice shadow coming off him. It's a really crisp and clean and nice painting, very well done. This one I like. It looks like it's very textural, and it's got some really fun color variations, and it carries a certain weight to it, even though it's a floral. It's got some punch. The orangey colors juxtaposed against the blue, those are complementary colors, so you get a nice vibration of color, and when you look at it, it's fun. Here's a really nicely rendered bird. Not sure, is this a heron maybe? I don't know my birds that well. But nice subtle cool grays and blues on the feathers that really give you that sense of the variation in a white bird, I gather. And it really is the relationship to the branches and to the background is very nice. He's kind of on a third, which is good. There's quite a bit of dead space or negative space on the right, which is fine. He's looking through that for something to eat, I suppose. You know, nice. A little kitchen still life. You've got your oranges, the orange squeezer, and the sliced oranges. The light's coming through the window, giving you some shadow, and it's got a nice feel to it. The composition is fun. Again, slightly off-centered, the main object here on the third. So your eye kind of goes through the painting and tracks through. It's a fun painting. Here's a interesting one. It's got these ships meeting each other, two different ships, different sizes. One suggests one more in the distance. The clouds and the seems to come down into down to the water, even almost. Maybe it's the sea, the foam of the sea. I don't know. But it's a very fun, dynamic painting, going from the yellows and oranges down to the cool blues at the bottom, with these rendered boats with a strong silhouette. Almost looks like a one of those paintings with almost has a stained glass kind of outline feel. It's very strong. It's very nice. Another simple landscape, nothing too complicated here, but just simple shapes, and it gives you a good sense of a place. A little clarity here on the, you got some shadow coming across, very cool shadows, nice. And you have these nice brush strokes that just are not overworked. They're just simple, and that really makes makes a watercolor like this work well. Nicely done. This is a excuse me. This one is a again a nice compositional painting. You have your angles, you have your thirds, you have some things going on that are bringing your eye through it, and you have the subtlety of the colors is what I really guess was attracted to, and then these brighter and darker blue and red areas that just bring your eye into that area. It's a unique use of these shapes, I think, and it's got some, almost has some actual three-dimensional feel to some of the spaces, which gives it a little more action than some more abstract pieces. Here's another painterly brushstroke painting with lots of simple brushstrokes creating those leaves and those flowers. Not too much, not overworked at all. Very nice, very clean, nice cool shadows and bright sun popping through there, it looks like. So it really carries very well. Again, nicely done. This one was a lot of fun. I really thought the treatment of this girl was fun. I like the shadows, the colors, the bleeding of all these warm tones. The hair looks like it was maybe blown on wet paint and created these sort of spider webby things. And of course her pose with the puckered lips is fun. It's just a fun painting, and it was in a fun pose, and then treated with a lot of fun. So I think it really has a lot of quality to it. Again, a somewhat abstract treatment of some of the grasses and things that probably you see in Florida or anywhere actually. Love the depth created by the values going from the deeper cools all the way up to the brighter yellows, lighter and brighter, and it gives you lots of depth and lots of variation. It's a very intriguing treatment. It's nice. A very traditional looking scene. The cottages, the perspective is really good. The treatment of the cottages is very nice. Um, you even have cars rendered in here. It looks like minis, and so anyway, nice treatment, nice subtle uh, trees suggested in the background. Uh, Quite a nice combination of textures and perspective and all those things. It's good painting. Another one like it in the sense, which is just treated a little bit less detailed. Nice brush strokes. Again, perspective looks pretty good, leading your eye back. Sidewalk cafe, I guess, and you have nice little figures just dancing around in that middle plane of that painting. Um, well rendered uh, objects, and the shadows, the trees and the shadows all work together and give you a good sense of the place. Okay, we're on to the Merit Award for this one. Um, this is very well rendered. I'm looking forward to seeing this in person. Um, it's an interesting painting. A lot of this kind of painting, people will prefer to do a dark background and make them pop out of the dark background. This is done on a very light background, so it's very I'm sure that was a challenge to do. But I love the shadows, the color in the shadows, the color of all the objects. Again, I can't wait to see this in person when I'm there. Another Merit Award. This is just a almost like an abstract painting, but it's a subject that relates. It's got the eggs in this nest, and you have again the composition is good. It's got your sort of a cruciform composition. You got your verticals and your horizontal meeting at the nest. And it's also, when you think about rule of thirds and those principles, it's also carries that. Colors are harmonious. It has an interesting feel to it overall, and there's some really nice juxtaposition from darks to lights, and from one color to another. Congratulations. Um, Sugar High. I like the title. I'd like to see this in person too. A little hard to tell how he rendered the textures, but there are so many textures on this particular painting that are really fun and really make it. It's about uh, these crates and these particular brands, but they're just so um, um, what's ubiquitous types of things in the United States of America. Most of us have seen these somewhere and have grown up with some of this and grown up with these brands. So it's very interesting. Here's a fun figure, very abstract in a way. I like the pose, the composition. The bird on the hand down here is quite neatly tucked in there. You can't even hardly tell it's there. I'm sure there's some other things in there the artist has put in there too, which I will probably see more clearly when I see it in person. But I just like the uh, the way that the the sort of organic objects, the organic um, plants or whatever you want to call it, are interwoven or superimposed over this figure. It really has an interesting feel. I think it's going to be fun to see. This one is a pretty traditional um, uh, landscape titled Memory Scent. Um, I can almost smell the pine, and this is a simple treatment, wet and grainy. The main tree is on the thirds, and you got a couple others there, so it's not isolated. The distant trees are treated loosely with some scraping, it looks like, and some small brush strokes. The foreground is treated with a bunch of grainy pigment and some flowing water, it looks like, and so it's certainly not overdone. Colors are very simple and harmonious, but it's a very nice painting. I like it. This one is again, a pretty much a photorealistic kind of treatment of all of these pieces of wood that make up this building. You have, and of course, the light coming through from the back. You have an opening through this window, so the window has more to say than just reflecting off of some glass or something. So you can kind of see through, and you realize this building is certainly falling apart. So it tells a story. The treatment of the shadows on the building are very very subtle and very nice, which is what you would see in this kind of setting. That's very well done. Excellent.
Michael, thank you so much. One correction, this is an online show, so you will not see.
Oh,
Yeah, I know. But
what?
what we can say is that you will be doing some one-on-one with some of our members. They'll have an opportunity to sit down with you and share um, uh, 10 of their images at our convention, the
Yeah.
appointment. And so if any of you who didn't get in, or any of you who received, I thought your constructive criticism was excellent. We don't always hear that. So I thought it was really good.
No,
Um,
thank
so you'll have an opportunity to sit down with Michael um, if you register for the convention and then register for the one-on-one. So you could sit down with Michael or soon Warren and get some really, really great feedback for your personal work. Do we have any questions, Tanya?
I do not see any questions. There's a lot in the chat. Thanking Michael. Thanks very much. Thanks so much. This was informative of what you were looking for and why you chose each painting. Great show. Thanks, Michael, for all your hard work. And thank you and thank you. Lots of thank yous.
Well, that's good. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Us as well, and we very much look forward to working with you in up, up, up. What
I
happened?
have a question. I noticed the size of painting was not required. Does this not matter in your choices?
The size?
Mhm.
Uh, no, it doesn't really. Although one of the things that I find, and I'm really disappointed I won't get to see them in person. You see, I was thinking I was going to see them. The What usually happens is I'll see something at online, and I'm doing the judging, and then when I get to the event and see the painting, usually I do the awards at that point, and I see them in person. Usually there's one or two that I go, wow, that was a lot bigger than I thought. It just stands out now as something really big and dramatic. And the other way around, sometimes I look at some of them and I go, wow, that I thought it was a big painting, but it's small. So you really can't, unless you look at the dimensions and then kind of calculate and kind of think through it. You really don't know. the only thing you really have to go by sometimes is just the paper grain. You can kind of tell if it's a very grainy. You can kind of say, well, that's got to be a small painting because it's a close up of a portion. So sometimes it gives it away that way. But
Okay, last call for questions for Michael then. There was just a couple more thank yous after that one.
Thank you very much. We'll see you in just a few short months. I can't
yep,
the time goes. And thanks for doing this today. And I'm sure that last spot in your workshop is already sold.
well, I hope so.
Yes.
I hope so. Yeah, I'd like to have a full house, and then we'll have a lot of fun. So,
Wonderful.
all right.
All right.
Great.
Thanks, everybody. See you soon.